Welcome to the Growth Series podcast, where we explore how AI is reshaping industries and accelerating innovation. I'm your host, Josh Jackson. At Red Letter AI, we help businesses scale revenue, generate consistent and predictable leads, and streamline sales systems so it feels like you have an army of sales reps. We believe in the marketing strategy of benefit selling and high tech meets high touch, and the perfect combination of AI and HI. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, you're in the right place. And if you'd like a free growth consultation, drop the word growth in the comments below. Well, today our guest is Jeff Blackman, a Hall of Fame speaker, best-selling author, lawyer, business growth strategist who's been helping CEOs, presidents, and sales teams accelerate their results for over 40 years. Jeff's work has transformed organizations from around the world, creating real, measurable growth through proven systems, not hype. He's a best-selling author of 6 books, including Peak Your Profits and Bullseye, and has shared the stage in airways with names like Mark Cuban, Bill Russell, and Jerry Seinfeld. Jeff's helped companies create profits through people, and his insights have made him one of the most trusted voices in the world of sales and leadership. Jeff, welcome to our podcast.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Great to be with you and your listeners and viewers.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on today. You know, I got to talk to you a little bit before this podcast, and man, I could listen to your stories for hours, and so I'm excited to share it with everybody else in the public. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to where you're at today.
Well, I'll give you and those who follow you on Growth Always kind of a brief synopsis. So if you asked a client what it is that I do, thankfully, they know they will not describe me as a speaker or a trainer or a consultant. Clients will actually call me what one client, Jim Allen, did years ago because I helped Jim grow 3 businesses. And he said to me, I look upon you as being my personal business growth specialist. And that's really my focus, Josh, is to help individuals, CEOs, entrepreneurs, Fortune 500 companies, their senior leadership teams, their salespeople quickly and ethically and dramatically grow their businesses. But I really was trained with other skills that were the perfect complement, which I really didn't know at the time, to prepare me for this career. So I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer since 1982. And I wanted to litigate. So being a child of the 60s, growing up here in Chicago, my perception of the law was the courtroom based upon TV, Judd for the Defense, or Perry Mason. And my assumption was that's what attorneys did because it was television. And then you, just like me, and I'm sure many of your listeners, viewers, they've got friends who practice law. Litigators don't litigate. If they do, maybe it's 5% of the time. They want to avoid litigation. Why? It's expensive. It's exhaustive. It's time consuming. So when I discovered that they don't litigate, I go, whoa, something I want to do now I wouldn't be doing. So I transferred from the day division to the night division. And I did well academically. I did what you were supposed to do, making Dean's List with another fellow. We won moot court competition. So I did well, but I wasn't having fun. I really didn't have this creative outlet. It took me an extra 6 months. Thankfully, passed the bar exam the first time, so that was behind me, but I truly never practiced the law. The other thing that was really preparatory for my work today is my broadcast background. So when I was a kid in grammar school, if there was a report to be given, I pretended as if I was on the air, and I would be talking into a hairbrush because it looked like a microphone. I started doing radio in high school, then did radio in college, and then with Steve Kraft, my original partner, and with one other individual until eventually it became my show, I had a radio show here in Chicago on WFYR, which is part of the RKO radio network. So background is radio as a TV talk show host as well, because I also did television here in Chicago. And those things really prepared me well for eventually what it is that I wanted to do when I started to gravitate toward speaking. But let me stress that success for anybody listening, and whatever your business is, it's about persistence. And people will often say to me, Josh, well, Jeff, someday I hope I can speak like you. What a gift you were born with? And I go, no. They go, what do you mean, no? I go, well, first, you should be the best you can be. Don't try to replicate me. And I go, this was not a gift that I was born with. When I was a little guy, I couldn't pronounce my A's and my L's. So in first grade, my teacher, Miss Northrup, said to me that you need speech correction lessons. I thought her claim was wrong, and I said that to my parents. She's crazy. So I worked really hard for 2.5 or 3 years until eventually I could enunciate and articulate and communicate. And then I was able to master language, so to speak, at a young age because I no longer had a speech impediment, which is really what I struggled with until I was able to master my L's and master my R's. I didn't know at the time. A woman from a local newspaper interviewed me and she said, so really, at a very young age, your career choice was being created. And I went, why didn't I think of that? And I didn't. At the time, it just didn't hit me. But that's an example of perseverance. If you really want to get good at something, it's your choice to work both smart and also work really, really hard.
I love your background, and it kind of leads me to a question. You kind of answered it, but I'd love to hear a little bit more. Like, what's been the inspiration of your work over all these decades?
Well, the inspiration actually was Donna Northrup, who was my first grade teacher. Donna and I stayed in touch subsequent to me graduating, so to speak, from first grade. And I actually acknowledged her with that story that has appeared in more than one book. It appeared in the first, then now second, third, fourth, and fifth editions of Peak Your Profits because I was always grateful to her. And then I do an expanded story about her final days, and I literally saw her probably 2 to 3 weeks before she passed away. And I refer to her as my favorite redhead. And it was just the two of us reminiscing. And I was an adult when she passed away. I would have been in my 50s at the time. And Donna was extremely special to me. And another teacher who I stayed in contact with was Angela Graham, who was my AP English teacher when I was a senior in high school. And I remember when Peak Your Profits, the first edition, came out, I had a book signing at Barnes & Noble in Skokie. Skokie happens to be one of the north of Chicago, and that's where I grew up, not Skokie, but Lincolnwood, and we now live in a northern suburb of Chicago as well. And when I looked into the audience, Josh, in the front row, to my surprise, Angie Graham was there, the AP English teacher. So I've been incredibly blessed to have phenomenal teachers in my life. And then my dad, who passed away in February of 2019, Dad was also a significant influence in my life. And he gave me always some very simple strategies. And one of the things that he said to me is, son, if you work hard, you'll succeed. But if you work hard and you'll work smart, you'll succeed beyond your wildest expectations. I never forgot that advice. And other advice also came from me being an athlete. I played 3 sports, basketball, soccer, and baseball. Baseball was my best sport. That's Ernie Banks of the Chicago Cubs over my shoulder, i.e. Mr. Cub. And Ernie was a phenomenal ball player, which is why he's always with me. But I also interviewed him on my radio show, and we conducted the interview from Wrigley Field the day before the Cubs opened, and this would have been way back in the early 80s. It was probably close to 40 years ago that I spent time with Ernie. And baseball taught me the value of preparation, which I'm nuts about, and I urge my clients to do the same thing. Always be well prepared. Do not wing it. Winners do not wing it. They prepare.
Right. Right. So you have such an extensive background in sales, over 40 years. You've done so many different things. And with the new age of AI, automation tools, which everybody loves to talk about, the tools that's now available, I would love to know what your take on the balance between high tech and high touch.
Well, high touch, as we briefly discussed a couple of weeks ago, is valuable. Technology is a terrific thing. Yet, AI, let's call it artificial intelligence, because that's what everybody else calls it, but that shouldn't displace AI, actual intelligence. If you have a tool but don't use it intelligently, what's the purpose of having the tool? And another AI, from my perspective, is authentic intelligence. People like authenticity. They like sincerity. They like trust. And I always stress, Josh, to my clients that when trust is high, fear is low. Let me repeat that. When trust is high, fear is low. So technology is terrific. But let me share with you and those listening, watching, if you will, an OG strategy, because most people do not implement it. And that's the ability to ask terrific questions. And the purpose of great questions is they help you discover, do you have a problem I can help you solve? Do you have a need I can help you fill? Or do you have a dream or goal that I can help you create, achieve, or seize? Most people will do data dumps. As my good buddy Jeffrey Gitomer says, Gitomer and I have been friends for about 30 plus years now, most people show up and throw up. And Jeffrey's right. They just spew data about how long we've been in business, the size of our distribution center, and I tell my clients, nobody cares. But if you create great questions, Josh, and what do I call them? I call them power probes. And a power probe is simply an open-ended need development question. Cannot be answered yes or no. And people are saying, whoa, hang on. Are you saying never ask a yay-nay question? Didn't say that. It's okay twice, meaning for qualification purposes, to confirm this person is a prospect, not a suspect, or they are a player, not a pretender. Qualifying, cool. And the other time yay-nay is fine is when it's decision time. Thumbs up, green light, approval, whatever it might require. The rest of the time, though, you need to ask questions that begin with who, what, when, where, why, which, how. Here's the TED principle, TED. Tell me more about, explain to me how, describe for me. And I'll often ask people who I just start to work with, I go, how many of you have got a dynamic dozen? You've got key 12 questions to determine how you can help someone solve a problem, fill a need, or realize a dream or goal. And they kind of look at me like I'm nuts. I go, well, no, it's all up here. I go, oh. So in other words, you're committed to memory as opposed to preparation and practice. And the other thing, once my clients embrace the Power Probe strategy, is put it on your smartphone. This is a remarkable tool. On my smartphone, because I'll never share a strategy unless I do it, is put so you can see these are my Power Probe questions, at least 12. You can have more, but at least 12. And also have an audio of your own voice reciting those questions, which I do. Now, I'm pretty good at this stuff. I could wing it, but I don't. I prepare for every single conversation. I prepared for this interview, and I prepare when I'm interviewing either a prospect or a current client. And my clients love it. So one CEO in Cleveland will often say to me, hey, Blackman, how many questions did you create for today's call? And I go, 17. He goes, really? You created 17 questions just for me for today's call? And I go, yep. He goes, I love when I talk to you because it's all about me. Can I share real quickly the 3 Ps of this entire process? And then I want to give an offer that will really help your listeners out. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right, here are the 3 Ps. If someone who I'm working with and we've just started the relationship says, hey, Jeff, I got a great opportunity next week with whomever, I'll go, super. What's your purpose? What? What's your purpose? Why are you even having the conversation? One, you need to know your purpose as well as what their purpose is. Why? Eliminate assumptions, confirm expectations. Eliminate assumptions, confirm expectations. First P, purpose. Second P, know your power probes. Know them, practice them, rehearse them. You might not get to all 12, but if you're really well prepared, it allows you to bob and weave. Football season, RPO, run pass option. I tell folks create a different RPO, results, possibilities, opportunities. And you can only do that if you're incredibly well prepared. We've got know your purpose, know your power probes. What's the third P? Parade of progress. What are you doing to set the next step in motion? After a call, it never simply ends until I have determined with a prospect or a client, this is what happens next. I will do blank by blank. You will do blank by blank. And that's the easy success formula, Josh. I will do, here's the behavior, by, here's the date, the deliverable, the commitment. Now, let me give a couple or a few more than that key power probes that your folks can ask. Here's a simple one. What will you value most in our relationship? What will you value most in our relationship? How will we measure success? How will we measure success? Because what you're doing is determining, is it quantifiable? Is it more subjective? But if you eliminate the assumption and confirm the expectation, you know what's important to that individual. I might ask, what are some of your key strategic initiatives? What are the challenges that your team is facing? Conservatively, because your folks aren't selling or negotiating the way you'd like them to. Conservatively, what are you losing on an annual basis? With your profit margins of X, how does that affect your bottom line? What would it mean to you to recover only half of those lost dollars? What's the economic impact? How does that impact you personally? So that's a combination of questions tied to logic as well as emotion. Now, I have got hundreds of questions, but for your listeners, we're going to offer them, and all they need to do is send an email, and we'll send them what we call the Sweet 16. 16 questions they can use immediately, not like in 90 days, but immediately. Not my perception, but those who receive it. Here's all they need to do. Send an email to SHERYL at jeffblackman.com. One more time, Cheryl, SHERYL at jeffblackman.com. In the subject, simply put, Josh Rocks Sweet 16. That's it. Josh Rocks Sweet 16. That's all you need to do. When we see that, we'll know exactly what it means. Cheryl will then send you 16 key questions, open-ended, and you can use it no matter what your product, service, immediately. Why? Because others have, and they said to me, I can't believe this works. And I'm not quite sure why they lack credulity in the process, because once they use it, and all the time I get from my clients, I did this, and here's what happened. Mm-hmm. And if it didn't, we'd give them their money back. As you know, we've got a no-risk assurance with everything we do. And since we began in business in 1982, now 43 years, we've never lost the bet.
I love it. I love it. So I would love, like, your experience is so extensive. I would love for you to tell me, for people listening to the podcast, who is it that you primarily work with? If this person has these things going on, that's who you work with. Like, how do people know, like, they should hire you?
So one of the great things, and I've been blessed with, is haven't made a so-called cold call in probably 30 to 35 years. So any opportunity that we get is someone picked up one of my best-selling books, or a member of their team heard me speak, or I've been recommended through someone they know, referrals and introductions. A CEO who I chatted with last week who was extremely happy with the impact of the learning system we created for his folks said to me, I need to give you 2 referrals. So everything we do is referrals and introduction based. So if somebody's got a team and they're going, well, they're good, but boy, I wonder if they can get better, they rely upon us to help them with their business development skills, to help them quickly and ethically and dramatically grow their business. Now, yes, there could be a keynote, 60 to 90 minutes, but what clients really value, Josh, is long-term, just not short-term impact. So the request that we help them over time with coaching and learning systems that then also include customized business growth tools, my books, audios, video links, and then I can also coach them virtually, either the entire team, and I've got multiple learning systems like that going on now, or individuals who are members of the team. It could be the president or CEO, could be a business owner, the VP of sales, an EVP of sales. It could be top producers, so we can either do it in a team environment or, for that matter, even one-to-one. The focus, though, is always on short-term and long-term success.
Yeah. I would love for you to share maybe a most recent case study that you've worked with. You know, no names, no company names or anything like that, but kind of share with us, like, where they were, what you did, and where they're at now.
I'll give you an old one because it's still applicable. And it really has to go to first mindset. So I can never help anybody until they first believe that there's a possibility for success. Simple example. 1996, long time ago, but the strategies still work. 1996, I did a single keynote for Bank One in Arizona. Very successful. Based upon that, Bank One then had me work with multiple divisions over the next few years. So they had me on a retainer basis. One of the things that I just didn't understand is the first division I really started to do a lot of work with, they sold loans. They did not ask for referrals, Josh. Baffled me. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And I was told by the president, it's not part of our culture. Okay, I backed off. The following year, I asked the president, is this the year that we'll be able to introduce a referrals culture to your team? He said, I told you, it's not part of our culture. It's not what we do. Okay, next year, third year, and I'll never forget where we were. We were in San Diego in January. The group vice presidents from all over the country were there. The president was there. And I said to the president, I go, can I ask your group VPs from around the country a simple question? Sure. So I asked them, how many salespeople or loan officers do you have? And they answered. And I go, and what's the size of a typical loan? And they answered. And I go, if everyone who's a loan officer could generate just one more loan a month from a referral or an introduction, what would that mean to your organization annually? And they kind of grumbled and they came up and they gave me a number. And the president went, well, I couldn't hear that. What was that? You speak up. I can't hear you. It was $125 million annually at a minimum. He looked at me and he said, why are we not doing this referral thing? I went, you won't let me. You keep telling me it's not part of your culture. Now, I'm not violating any NDA because this entire story is at our website. You can go to our website right now and see the story. We featured videos for Bank One, so you can see excerpts of people who literally doubled or tripled their income. So the exact same strategies applied. What happened? We did a pilot. After the pilot, we rolled it out to the entire country. In the 23 months that we did, the referrals system, referrals your road to results, generates $230 million in new business. No acquisition cost. Zip, not a bupkis. People go, well, what happened? Why did it stop at 230? I went, they sold the portfolio at a premium to Household International. So the exact same strategies in 1996 or 7 or 8, they work today. Nothing changed in terms of who else do you know who you think I might be able to help. Not do you know anyone? That's a yes/no question. But who else do you know who, like you, is focused on results, not competitive, who you think I might be able to help?
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to sales and marketing, you got to go multiple channels. You got to go new business, but then also a referral-based business. It's the easy. Those are going to be your best clients. Those are going to be the referral-based business, because when you have somebody else vouching for you, now it's not self-promotion. Now somebody else is promoting you. And I'll take it a step further. Like I learned a long time ago, you don't wait till the end of the transaction to ask for referrals. You ask for referrals throughout the transaction. In fact, anytime I deliver good news, I've been in mortgage and real estate and all kinds of sales for a long time. Anytime I deliver good news, I plant the seed on referrals. It's not a hard ask, but it's more of a soft ask. So like that is absolutely part of the process, and those results don't surprise me at all.
And you earned the right to ask. That's key. You must
100%.
earn the right. And you've got to be what I call the Vine principle is you've got to be value driven. You've got to be integrity based. You've got to be non-manipulative. We taught people at Bank One, even if they couldn't help them with a loan, to still ask for referrals. And I'll never forget, the director of marketing said, it makes no sense. I go, what makes no sense? He goes, we can't help them, or they say no to us for whatever reason, low credit score, whatever it might be. Why would they possibly help us? Because you were kind, because you were helpful, because you were sincere, you used authentic intelligence, and therefore they're willing to see if you can help another person who they love, who they trust, who they like, friend, family member, peer, whomever it might be. So it changed literally how many folks did business. I didn't say everybody. Some folks said, I'm not comfortable, I'm not going to do it. Okay, personal choice. So that's why when people ask me, will this stuff work? Not up to me, up to you.
But here's the thing: anytime you do something for the first time, it's not going to be comfortable. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You're still doing the right thing by the client. So, anyways, again, we could talk. We could talk for days. I love chatting with you. I love hearing your stories. But I'd love to end just with two questions here. These are going to be more pay it forward questions, and this is going to be a hard question for you to answer based on your experience. But I just want you to go off of the first thing that comes to mind. I would love to know what your single best piece of business advice you've ever received is.
Can I give you more than one, or you want just one?
Well, give me
Because
two.
it's seldom.
How's that?
You know,
I know it's a hard question.
yeah, it's seldom one thing. And my dad was a terrific dad. We were extremely close, and he was a fabulous mentor. So I think about him on a regular basis. He is over my shoulder too. You can't happen to see the picture of dad. But dad and I were extremely close. And he said several things to me that I never forgot that I passed on to others. And it was kind of a common theme when he passed away in my eulogy for him, because he would often say to me, son, life is a series of adjustments. And life includes your personal life, and it includes your professional life. So we don't know what's going to happen with the next email, the next phone call, whatever it might be. And it could be good news or it could be challenging news. And therefore, the key is, what do you control and influence? You control your attitude, you control your choices. That influences what your next actions are. So I always think about that life is a series of adjustments. Dad also taught me, aside from which I mentioned earlier about working hard and working smart, and he said, be honest, do the right thing. Honesty, and he would always drill this into our children as well. My wife Cheryl and I have got 3 kids, Chad, Brittany, and Amanda. He would often say to the kids, honesty is your friend, and honesty doesn't require a good memory. So when I talk about ethics and integrity with clients, they'll sometimes say, I thought that in selling and business development didn't belong together. I now realize it's actually a crucial element of being successful. So plain and simple, do the right thing. And you, a week ago or 2 weeks when we chatted, said, hey, what would you like to share with listeners, viewers about what you're focused on, about your business? And I go, that's not important, Josh. What I said to you is, let's focus on strategies and skills or attitudes and behaviors that your Growth Always fans can use and use immediately. And that's really my juice. My juice is somebody else's success. So I love when a client tells me that I did this and it led to that. And that's really the reward that I get for being in this business. So those are just a couple of ideas. If you want to sneak in one more, that's from John Wooden, who was the great basketball coach at
Yeah.
UCLA. And I just wrote about this on LinkedIn. And by the way, if anyone listening wants to connect with me, just shoot me a connect and I'll connect and let me know that it was through Josh. And John Wooden said that things turn out best for those who make the best out of the way things turn out. So that reinforces, okay, it's now up to me. It's my attitude. It's my choice. What can I do next to now make it different? So those are just a few. And you're right. We could go on for hours with others, but those are the ones that happen to come to
Yeah,
me.
I'm just looking for the gold nugget, right? You sit through a whole day seminar, and if you get one gold nugget that you can change your business, it's worth the entire day. And that's what, like, you have so much knowledge, you have so much wisdom and experience. I just wanted that single gold nugget, first thing that came to my mind. So
Can I give you one more? Because this one always works. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. Don't tell me about your grandiose plans. I'd rather hear about your grandiose results. All
yes.
right, we got one more in.
Okay, so last question, actually second to last question. If you could go back in time and talk to your 15-year-old self, what would the advice be that you would tell yourself?
Do everything you can to avoid injuring your legs so you can play sports for even longer. Playing sports is where I first got injured. So 2 ruptured Achilles tendons, 4 knee operations. So really what I would tell my 15-year-old self is Continue to follow your passion, because whether you're 15 or whether you're 50, I'll often get people who say, hey, can I talk to you? Sure. Do you think I'll be successful if I go into this business? I go, well, what do you think? And if they hesitate, they kind of just answered the question. They might not realize it, though. So I'll often ask people, who's the most important person in your life? They go, well, that'd be my wife. Oh, no, that'd be my husband, my children. I go, well, you do realize it's a trick question. The most important person in your life is you. Because if you don't take great care of you, you cannot take great care of anybody else. So have intent. What's your own personal strategic plan? Where are you? Where would you like to be? And how do you want to get there? And if you follow that, then yes, working hard, working smart, you too should achieve results beyond your own wildest expectations.
Well, that is fantastic advice, and I have nothing else to add to that. You said it perfectly. So last question is, where can people find more about you? If they have questions, they want to work with you, whatever, how can they find you?
Easy to find me. You can find me obviously on LinkedIn. You could also go to our website, which is jeffblackman.com. So it's my first name, Jeff, followed by my last name, Black, just like the color, M-A-N, jeffblackman.com. Or shoot me an email. Email is my initials, JB at jeffblackman.com. If I can help in any way, my pleasure.
That's awesome. We'll have all those resources down in the comments below as well. So if you missed it, just click down below and everything will be there. So Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time today. Love chatting with you and appreciate your time.
Likewise. Pleasure. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye.
Bye-bye.